Have you ever stared at a math problem and just felt your brain freeze up? That little knot of panic in your stomach? Well, if you have, you are absolutely not alone. Today, we're going to dig into the surprising science behind that very common fear, and, more importantly, we're going to talk about the proven ways to beat it.
And get this isn't some new, modern problem. This little rhyme you're seeing, it's from the year 1570. That's right, for over 450 years, we've had documented proof that people thought multiplication was a pain and that practice was driving them mad. It's kind of comforting, in a weird way, to know we've been struggling with this stuff for centuries.
But fast forward to today, and it's a huge issue. Look at these numbers. Over a third of young adults feel anxious about math. 1 out of every 10 kids is dealing with this. And it's not just in school. 1 in 5 parents has an actual fear of numbers. And that gender gap is really telling too, with women reporting more than double the anxiety of men. This is a massive, widespread problem.
So what's the plan? Well, here's our roadmap. First, we're going to define this fear. Then we'll look at why it's like an emotional handbrake for our brains. After that, we'll dive into a powerful scientific secret for learning. Then we'll get into a practical toolkit for growth. And finally, we're going to zoom out and talk about why math truly is for everyone.
All right, let's dive into part 1, the fear of numbers. Because you can't really fight an enemy you don't understand, right? Let's give this feeling a name, because that's really the first step to getting a handle on it. So, it turns out this isn't just you not liking math. No, it's a recognized psychological condition. And it's had a formal definition since way back in 1972. The key word here is interferes. It's a feeling of tension so strong that it actually gets in the way of you being able to solve problems. It's real, and it has a name. At its heart, that's what math anxiety is, a negative emotional reaction. It's like this invisible wall that pops up in our minds. You can't see it, but it's a very real barrier that can stop progress dead in its tracks for people of any age. Okay, so that's the what, but what about the why? Why does this happen? In this next section, we're going to look at what the research calls an emotional handbrake to really understand what's going on under the hood. I love this metaphor because it's so perfect. Think about it. Just when you need your brain to accelerate, to push forward into a problem, anxiety yanks that handbrake, and your thinking just screeches to a halt. So what's actually pulling that brake? Well, it's not you. It's not some kind of personal failing. It's your brain's ancient, hardwired safety system, your fight or flight response. But instead of seeing a tiger in the grass, your brain is perceiving a social threat. The threat of being embarrassed, of looking stupid in front of everyone, of being left behind, or just that crushing fear of failure, all made worse by a clock ticking down. Okay, so we know what the problem is, and we know what causes it. Now for the good part. Science has given us an incredibly powerful way to fight back against that emotional handbrake. So let's get into part 3, the retrieval practice secret.
Let me ask you a quick question. When you really, truly need to remember something, what's the best way to make it stick? Just think about what you usually do. I'm going to guess that for most of us, our go-to is the stuff on the left, right? Rereading your notes, highlighting pages. It feels like you're doing something, but it's totally passive. The real magic, the stuff that builds strong memories, is on the right. Active recall. It means pulling information out of your brain, not just cramming it in. It feels harder for sure, but that's the whole point. That effort is what actually forges the connections in your brain.
Now, this is so powerful, it has a scientific name, the testing effect. And this is a game changer. We need to stop thinking of tests as just a tool for grades. Tests are one of the best teaching tools we have. Every time you try to recall an answer, you aren't just checking what you know, you are literally making that memory stronger. This is the perfect weapon against the handbrake, because when you build this kind of confident, automatic knowledge, there's less mental space for anxiety to creep.
And you know, this secret isn't even new. It's been hiding in plain sight for hundreds of years. Francis Bacon was talking about it in 1620. He figured out that trying to recite something from memory was way better than just rereading it 20 times. Psychologists were studying it over a century ago. And today, all our modern science does is confirm what these brilliant people knew all along.
All right, so let's bring this down from the high-level science to the down-to-earth practical stuff. How do we actually use these ideas to turn that feeling of anxiety into a feeling of growth? Let's open up the toolkit.
First, I want you to hear from Elsie. She says, I was bad at maths. It made me feel a bit dumb. I mean, wow, That just perfectly captures that feeling, doesn't it? But then listen to the shift. I still struggle, but I don't give up. That journey right there, from feeling dumb to becoming resilient, that's the whole goal. So to help make that journey, there's this really fantastic and simple tool that can help us all understand and talk about our feelings when we're learning. It's called the growth zone model. I love this model because it's so clear. You've got 3 zones. The comfort zone, that's where things are easy, familiar, where you build confidence. Then there's the anxiety zone. That's where it's just too hard, you're overwhelmed, and all useful learning just stops. But right there in the middle, that's the sweet spot. That's the growth zone. That's where you're supposed to feel challenged. It's where it is safe and necessary to make mistakes. That's where you actually learn. And here's the cool part. You can actually use this in a classroom or even just at home. You can give a learner colored cards, say green for comfort, yellow for growth, red for anxiety. They can just hold up a card to show you how they're feeling without having to say a word. It gives the teacher or the parent this instant, crucial feedback. They know exactly when to push a little and when to step in and help. Now, all these tools are fantastic for individuals. But if we really want to solve this problem for good, we have to zoom out and attack the source. This crazy cultural idea that some people are maths people and some just aren't. It's time to change the bigger picture. So let's do a little experiment. Right now, I want you to picture someone who is good at math. Just get a clear image in your head. What do they look like? Okay, you got it? I'm willing to bet your mental picture looks something like what these kids came up with. Einstein, a quirky scientist, someone with big glasses and a book. These are the stereotypes we've all absorbed, and they're so damaging because they send a very clear message about who belongs in the world of math and who doesn't. We need to replace that old, tired image with something like this. We have to actively challenge those stereotypes by showing and celebrating all the different kinds of people who are amazing at math and science. The more we see that mathematicians look just like everybody else, the more everybody will start to believe that they can be one too. This quote from M's Lord just says it all, doesn't it? Mathematics is for everyone. I love this next part. Just like literacy isn't only about Shakespeare, maths isn't just about numbers. It's about logic and patterns and creativity and problem solving. It's a fundamental human language, and it belongs to every single one of us. So look, here's the bottom line. Math anxiety is a real thing. It's a powerful force, but it is not a permanent condition. We have the science, we have the tools, and we have the understanding to overcome it, which really just leaves one final question for you. What could you achieve if you tested yourself more and doubted yourself less?